You want to zoom? I don't know if it's zoomed out or. Yeah, it looks like it's on the. Okay, you're set.
Okay, good morning, guys. I'm going to get started. Welcome to MREA Book Club. So what I'm going to be doing, if you are just hopping in and you haven't been to book club before, if you're online and listening later or right now, let me catch you up on where we are. And then I like to go a little bit fast and furious because we only have 30 minutes and there's another class that starts after this one. I do love participation, so I love it if you already have read it and give me ahas on the material, or just look while we're here and have an aha on the material. So we're going to do page 185, which says MREA Lead-Gen Model 185 to 192, okay? So if you turn back to page 192, we kind of end right there at right before the budget model. You guys see that? I sometimes have to ask because my book is a little bit different than yours. 192 as so we're going to stop above where we go into budget model. We're not going to start into the budget model. So as we start, and we're going to go to the lead gen model, I want you guys to go back to review from last week, page 181. Do you guys remember when we did 181 last week, if you were here, or if you've looked at this before? Wait, I know you were here. Do you remember when I did that triangle on the board last week? Jane, are you able to hear me? And you were, I don't know if you were in, and Donna Story, I see you on, and Cindy, so you guys feel free to chime in. The reason I'm bringing up 181 again is this is what I reviewed every single year I was a realtor once I understood the MREA. This is where you decide how many appointments you need to go on to reach your sales goals. This is a sales goal. And I heard Bruce Sellers talking later last week in the listing class, if you're not giving service, the lead generation stuff, this was strictly material about the numbers. I went over the numbers because that's what the material was, right? And so that little triangle with the circles in it, that is one of the main keys of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. That will go back into your app on your phone now. But to understand it, so the way I did it with you last week, if you were listening in, was I said if we just did a simple goal of 30 units or houses per year, would bring you down to 2 listings a month, which would basically be an appointment a week. So we just went over that simple math, and that's one of my favorite things to do with you if you don't have that. So what I want to do today is build on that. Let's just build on getting 2 listings per month. And at the end of 12 months, you would have 24 listings. That was actually way over the goal we did. But if you did get 2 listings per month, I am quite sure you would have a pretty great life, depending on your goals. I'm not saying that you couldn't go higher than that. Donna, you in here, you've got yourself on mute. She's on mute sometimes.
I think that's Cindy's on mute.
Well, anyway.
I can't tell.
So on page 182, we went over a little bit about that. And on page 183, this is your lead generation, the beginning of these lead generation concepts. I find this the most challenge for all the agents is to really get the lead generation concepts. We really want the phone to ring, and we really want to have somebody walk in, and we hope that we do things and we don't purposely do things. And it's tough. I mean, it's definitely not all rainbows and unicorns. So the economic model of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, you've got lead generation at the top of that. And he's basically doing the same thing we did on the triangle, where you're taking your volume and breaking it down to conversion rates. So this might be heavy to some of you. It's really, once you've done it a couple of times, will make clear sense to you, especially if you're a person who can do numbers. So I want you to review those pages. I want you to try putting your numbers, your goals in those pages. The reason I did 30 I did 30 sales per year in our class last week was not as to make 100,000 net profit. That is net profit without paying yourself a salary, unless you want to pay yourself a salary. You do have a salary budget. And that is a common goal for people to say, if I could get to where I'm making 100,000 net income a year, I'd be really at least on my way. So go over to start this material from this week. and you're going to start on page 185, the lead generation model. He's talking about to achieve big real estate sales, you need a lot of leads. Obviously, this is why it's called lead generation, right? So for you to sell, if you guys put your own goals in, but let's say you're okay with the goal of, if you're brand new, I like to set it at 16 homes per year. If you're maybe the next level, I like to set it at 30 homes per year. That's just a driver for your numbers. It doesn't mean that you're going to hit it or that you can't change it. You're in mid-year right now. Right now, I'd be setting my goals from either June to December, or I might set them from June to June, because why not set them June to June? I'd have all of next spring to hit them. So this one is talking about how many listing appointments and buyer appointments had to be gone on to hit the millionaire goal model. We already know for you to sell 30 homes per year, you need to go on 2 listing appointments a month. You can't really go on half an appointment a month. But if you would go on 1 appointment per week, 1 listing appointment per week, you basically could not fail. Now, how hard is it to go on 1 listing appointment a week? It's not easy. So your marketing-based prospecting enhanced. Anybody have aha on that part? Cindy, you on here? Jane?
I am. I'm here.
Cindy's the only one that'll speak. When it talks about listing, marketing-based prospecting enhanced, this is where you guys ask me if you can spend money. And we already know the answer if you follow the models of whether you can spend money or not. You can only spend money if you make money. Now, you might come into the business and came out of another career and have some money, and then that's okay if you spend some to start, but you'll need to even it off to the models pretty quickly. So go on to page 186. And he's talking about, like mid-page, where he shows figure 12 on page 143. So go back to figure 12 on page 143. This is the follow-up plan of the millionaire real estate model. This is where it talks about if you have met someone, you send them 8 touches in 8 weeks. Larry Kendall says the same thing in the Ninja Selling. And then you put them in your database, or you already have them in your database, but then they go into basically a 3 times a month system. One of those times can be a phone call. One of those times can be a mail out if you want. Doesn't necessarily matter. It's authentic to you, sometimes to the client, but it's rinse, repeat. Meet them, contact them 8 times, put in your database, keep purposeful contact. Do business with them, they refer you business. It just goes on and on and on. Then on the right-hand side is I've never met them. So if you're an agent who says, guess what, I just bought some Zillow leads. Hey, guess what, I did a Facebook ad. Hey, guess what, I went to the mall and I had a booth outside. Those are people that you have not met. They are a lower conversion rate, sometimes a very low conversion rate, but your goal is to get them to where you have met them. So you just put them in a simple process to continue to contact them until they just never contact you, or you meet them, then they move over to the left-hand side. So if you want to, guys, want to review that material, that is your simple, if you hear us say a 8x8, a 33 touch, that's what Gary and his team has and still has found. We need to be in that much contact with people in order to be their real estate of choice. So go back to page 186. He talks about that figure, and then look there at the 3rd paragraph. Basically, here's how the lead generation model works to become a, whatever you want to put here, number real estate agent. You run an aggressive marketing prospecting campaign built off the list in figure 10 on page 138. These activities generate leads. Give me a key word there.
Generate.
Activities that cause you to get leads. You cannot get leads if you don't do the activities. All these leads go into your 8x8 program and get added to your MET database, and they get on a 33 touch treatment each year. So what's tough is as you get bigger and bigger each year to keep this what we call scrubbed, but at least understand what it is. And then pretty soon Kelly and Command will take over some of this for you, which is nice. The 33 touch program results in repeat and referral business at a rate of 1 referral and 1 repeat for every 12 people in the program. It's called the 12.2 ratio. Somebody tell me what I just said.
Sounded like you
You
said.
just said that if you had 12 people in there,
that you should be able to get 2
Deals every year.
out of those 12. Yes.
Yes, and so that is the really high functioning realtors. But the 12 to 2, it's not 1 to 6, or it's not 6 to 1. It's not for every 6 people you know you sell a house. It's for every 12 people you know you'll sell 2 houses. And the reason is the repeats, the referrals, them telling their neighbor, you know, they won't buy 2 houses, but they'll either buy a house or refer you 2. When you guys say that's not true, it is true. Because here's why we know why. It's been studied over and over and over and over and tracked over and over and over. And it actually can be better than 12 to 2. But go ahead and just imagine that all of the times you go spend so much money on something like a Zillow lead, or even a postcard is usually, if you're sending it to a farm and you've never met the farm, you're not going to expect the same ratio. And so many people lose the database gold mine, which we talk about. Then on page 187, he talks about the I've not met you. So he's basically just digging in further to that concept he gave you back in that other table. So your 12 direct, you guys see this on the right-hand side. What this means is I'm going to send you a monthly contact. Usually it is a newsletter. So if I send you a newsletter once a month, and maybe I know you, maybe I don't, because some people will even do this to their Met database for some reason, which it's not enough for your Met database. But you're sending out, let's just say you have a farm. I haven't met you. You could do it in lots of different ways besides just a newsletter. That's just an example, 1 postcard, 1 piece of material, and you will have a 50 to 1 ratio. So if you want to say, look, Anna, I am never going to call my sphere. I don't like bugging my friends and family. They all have realtors already. They know I'm a realtor. They'll call me. All this silliness that you guys say. Well, fine. You'll just have a 50 to 1 ratio. So then you can do your math and see how many people you need to be in contact with to do your 2 appointments a month. And if you want to do that and you ever do that, we can do that too. Once they get into your Met database, they start to convert at a better rate. So if you look in kind of at the bottom of page 187, he's talking about if I wanted to sell $1 million, make $1 million net, I would need to have 1,920 people in my database that I have met. So you guys should have a simple number in your database of if I want to make 100,000, and please don't let me be telling you too low a numbers. That is just a round number that we use. I'm happy to help you guys do a different number. But you get the concept. If you have 1,920 people in your Met database and 0 in your I've not met you database, that goes to the bottom at 320 sales per year. So do you see how we could change those numbers and just take off a 0? And the math would work out. So we could do, I want to do 30 sales per year, and then I would just need a certain amount of people in my Met database. This is what we teach you over and over and over. Every time an agent doesn't make it, we scratch our heads and wonder, are you doing these activities that are proven to work? And are you going after your database? So somebody give me some feedback there.
I just think that like the number disparity, you know, the 1,920 people to get the same result as sending 16 or, you know, being in contact with 16,000 people.
Yeah, 16,000
Just
people,
managing
some of those
that.
big teams have to have in their database to keep those numbers running. Or especially think about it if they're doing lead generation and they're getting leads incoming that they may not really have a true phone number. It's such a bigger, longer, harder game. Somebody told me they were spending $1,000 a month. This was not a producing agent, like a lower level producing agent. $1,000 a month on Zillow, and they're real frustrated after a few months of no return. And I understand that because that is expected. Your 1% return, yes, eventually you'll get somebody to sell or buy from those numbers. They just have to be very big numbers. You have to be prepared to spend a big amount of budget. And it's really not nearly as fun as talking to people that you know, in my opinion. So down here in the middle of page 188, he says if you were working on your Met database and you do some numbers for yourself, adding 2 people a day, do you guys see this part? I only know it because I have it circled. Add 2 people a day would get you there in 4 years. 3 a day would get you there in 3 years. So as silly as it sounds to add 1 or 2 people a day, You know, with Talking Ninja, if you were to send 2 personal notes every business day, as much as that sounds like airy-fairy, you would have sent 100 personal notes a year. Your multiplication of your exponential of your contacts, it's proven. So if I haven't sold a house in 6 months and I'm thinking about getting out of business, and we look at your bid, your plan, and say, how many people have you added each week, each day, and you say none, I've been so busy, well, we understand, you know, it's the whirlwind. And the agents who run businesses realize you've got to do it. And then down at 188, excuse me, he talks about at the bottom there, build your database, feed it every day, communicate with it in a systematic way, service all the leads that come your way. Anybody want to expand on that? I'm not showing you guys on the camera today, but.
That's part of cleaning out the database as well.
Well, so first you build it. So you're clear on how many you need in it. So, you know, in the example of selling, getting 15 listings, getting 1 listing a month, you could get very clear on how many people you need to build each day. You could take it from a week to a day. And then feeding it, so you're building it, you're feeding it, you're communicating it systematically. So everybody say absolutely to the ones that communicate systematically. So I'll look down at our paper like this, right? Other than Donna Story, maybe. And I'm sure she struggles too. No one's perfect, trust me. Communicating with it in a systematic way, that's what we call auto flow.
You know what, can I just make a
Sure.
quick comment?
Yep.
We're starting to get to a time where communicating with your database in a systematic way is almost automatic. You know, we can make it more automatic that we have, you know, available.
So we can call it systematic, we can call it automatic,
Well, automatic.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's got to
So
be
you're
a system.
free to keep building your database and feeding it. It's kind of like a winning circle.
Yes. So that is the point, guys, is it's you've heard it a million times and you already know it, and then getting purposeful about it. So over here on 189, Gary talks about how much to expect to spend on this. So the cost of massive lead generation. One thing that I have AHA written and circled and starred on my book here is, do I know who has met and who has not met in my database? Do I have a group? Do I have, you know, there's so many ways to set this for yourself.
Can you elaborate for them on METs?
Anybody have an opinion on what is somebody that you've met versus not met?
I do.
Not even in there.
Who is that, Donna?
Yes.
What you got?
It's somebody you've met face to face or had a conversation with, or a client that you've worked with or potentially working with.
Okay, Donna, so say I came into an open house and we talked.
You've met them.
Okay, say that I passed by the open house and got your flyer.
And I didn't meet them
No.
face to face.
Right.
No.
So, you know, sometimes we get a little bogged down. Is it a contact? Is it a lead? Is it a met? Is it a not met? I like to think of a met as somebody who would recognize me. And if we one time went to a networking function and we traded cards, yes, that is met. However, I've got to do my 8x8
No.
so that I solidify that you'll recognize me.
Well, and the met may not be, and keep in mind, a lead is not always going to buy real estate today. So you may have met them and you may know them or they know you. So that needs to go in your met because they become a referral source.
So he talks a little bit about the budget, and we'll go into the budget more as the book progresses. This is where Gary on page 189 starts to discuss how much it would cost. But really what he is saying for the person, you know, again, we could change some zeros. He talks about the cost of marketing, communicating with the people who you met versus the cost of communicating and marketing to the people you've not met. And you'll see in his example down here, the person who is doing 320 sales a year to people they met spent $63,000. He expected it to be about a couple $100 per sale. And then on the other side, they spent $192,000. So it's a difference of a massive amount of money. And this is even on big scale. So think about it back to you guys on smaller scales if you are on a smaller scale. And Donna, I know you're real clear on your numbers there. So on page 190, this is the gist of it. Right around mid-paragraph there, he says, unless you have 1,920 people in your database or 16,000 people who you've not met, you're going to have to pursue two approaches. Bear in mind the forthcoming analysis of the budget model will make the recommendation of the budget cost will be 10% of your gross income. I think that is a great metric, and I have heard Gary on stage to this day and seen great successful agents talk about this. Well, I have 10%, I have 10%, I have 10%. So this is just a real easy number to know. If I have $3,200 that I made on a commission, then I can spend $320 on marketing. I better keep it to that. I don't have $1,000 a month unless I've made how much per month. And then it's my decision, right? It's always 10%. So do you guys, Donna, how well do you stay in line to the 10%?
Well, you've got to think in mind, you've got marketing and then you've got lead generation, and that can be two different things.
Well, this is lead generation.
But yeah, I think I'm in line on the lead generation part.
It's tough though, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You spend money. This business, you got to spend money to make anything. And we don't do print advertising anymore like we used to. It used to be just as expensive when we did print. So
go over to page 191, focus on listings. The importance of listing houses. Seller listings as a cost of sale are less expensive to obtain than buyer listings and sales. The cost of sale, do you see that number of the difference of the cost? And how much are you spending today, your activities on getting listings? On page 192, which is really the last part of this part of the book, he says millionaire real estate agents, and you guys think of yourself as millionaire real estate agents, whether that number bothers you or not. Think of it as a ninja agent, whatever word would work for you internally so that you can believe that it's possible for you. Seller listing lead generators first. Marketing of those listings second. Buyer listing lead generators third. So I like to work with buyers. Buyers are more fun. All those other things that we say are true. And it's really fun to work with buyers when you've got a couple of signs and yards that are working for you and that marketing is bringing you more buyers. So I'm going to wrap it up so the next class can stop. We'll advertise what pages are next. Anybody else got an aha or a comment?
I started doing a lot more of the birthday cards and stuff like that. And I get, when I call and I say happy birthday, oh, I got your card. I'm thinking, why didn't you tell me you got your card?
Not everybody has the etiquette to thank somebody for a card. Do you thank you for the thank you? I mean, it's perfectly okay to not tell them that, for them to not tell you they received the card. And also when you follow up, they'll most likely mention it. When next time you talk to them, they may mention it. Sometimes you'll get the card and wonder, should I say thank you for the thank you? It's just how many, then you got to thank me for the thank you for the thank you, right?
Because nobody does it anymore.
Who's laughing, Donna? Well, what would be, where would the thank you card fall in line with the model? What area of that is the thank you card or the birthday card or the home anniversary card?
It's a personal touch.
That's part of the 33 touch, right? And you can say 33, you can say 36. You can't say 12 and you can't say 2. You've got to say 3 times a month if that's on your mind. I think it's neat to do 12 of them to be calls, 12 of them to be, cards. So you can definitely, authentic to you, write down what you're willing to do 3 times a month to contact someone.
Anna, can I say something?
Yeah.
If you send a birthday card, write a personal note in it. Not just send it, we have them printed with the story team, but I take each individual card, which takes a lot of time, but it's great. And I get a lot of phone calls. Now I do a lot of video birthdays too, and I get more response from those.
And video birthdays are pretty easy, don't you think, other than the needing to look at ourselves?
Absolutely, but I hate to look at myself. So, exactly.
Do you send home anniversary cards?
Yes, absolutely. And we send thank you for listing cards.
Thank you
And
for
we
this.
send, if we find out that they've done something, we send congratulation cards. Sometimes we just send yay cards. You know, they've had something in their life. We're big card senders. And I do every one of them, personalize them.
And you have a purposeful system for that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Guys, thank you so much for your participation. I'm going to close the Zoom and we'll talk again next week. Have a great day.
Bye.
Good day.
Did you guys get signed in? Ready? Yeah, that's this one.
Be right back, guys.